It is 1919, Palestine. The small Jewish labor movement is divided into warring factions. David Ben-Gurion, who leads one of them, Poalei Zion, believes they must unify if they are to achieve what he conceives as their mission, taking the lead role in establishing the Jewish state. Biographer Shabtai Tevet writes,
He undertook a task that could justifiably be called a mission impossible, imposing a single authority on the Jewish people, to close their ranks and guide them along a single national course.
Aided by Labour leader Berl Katznelson, that same year Ben-Gurion merges his party with Katznelson's followers into a new socialist party, Ahdut Ha-Avodah. But the largest workers' group, Hapoel Ha-Tzair, refuses to join. In 1920, all the Labour parties agree to join a non-political trade union, the General Federation of the Hebrew Workers, or Histadrut. On November 8, 1921, the Histadrut elects Ben-Gurion to its leadership. The organization will become his main area of activity for the next 15 years. The Histadrut numbers only 4,400 workers, a mere 1 in 16 of the Jewish population. Nevertheless, Ben-Gurion sees it as the tool to build a single authority. He declares,
My plan is the dictatorship of the Jewish worker in all the national affairs of the Jewish people.
Under Ben-Gurion's leadership, the Histadrut grows to permeate every aspect of the worker's life. One writer visiting Palestine noted,
Members of the Histadrut grew food in their own settlements, marketed the produce collectively by their own marketing organization, invested their profits in their own banks, went to their own doctors, and ran their own schools.
Labour's dominant role is threatened in the mid-1920s. Anti-Jewish decrees in Poland send waves of middle-class Jews to Palestine. At first, they bring economic prosperity, and at the 14th and 15th Zionist Congresses, it is decided to give priority to urban development over the Histadrut's agricultural enterprises. A severe economic crisis in 1926 and 1927 brings the boom to a halt. Twice as many Jews leave Palestine as enter. Economic distress paves the way for the unification of the labor parties. In January 1930, Hapoel Ha-Tzair agrees to merge with Ahdut Ha-Avodah. The new party is Mapai, the Palestine Workers' Party. His control of the Histadrut complete, and at the head of a new united labor party, Ben-Gurion sets his sights higher, the conquest of Zionism. By conquest of Zionism, Ben-Gurion means taking control of the World Zionist Organization. He chooses as his battleground the 1933 elections to the Zionist Congress. But something stands between Ben-Gurion and his goal, a rival group with similar ambitions. This is the revisionist movement led by the charismatic Vladimir Jabotinsky, a growing force in Zionism that emphasizes military training and a more assertive Zionism. The revisionists win 21% of the vote in 1931 at the 17th Zionist Congress. Hostility between Labour and revisionists runs high in Palestine, spilling into violence. Jabotinsky calls the Histadrut a limb that is swollen to 7 times its natural size.
A gross cancer in the body of the Yishuv, growing ever more malignant. A worker who does not belong to the left can come close to starvation.
Ben-Gurion in turn calls Jabotinsky Vladimir Hitler and declares,
We must be on guard lest chauvinism inflame us. Like a putrid weed drawing sustenance from a befouled source, revisionism is liable to mushroom and spread in the Yishuv.
The war of words spills over into Europe as Ben-Gurion embarks on a 108-day campaign tour for Zionist Congress votes in March 1933. He visits the Jewish communities of Eastern Europe, mainly Poland. As a speaker, Ben-Gurion is no match for Jabotinsky, one of the great orators of his generation, who also makes Poland the center of his electioneering. Tevet writes,
They chased each other from city to city, from meeting to meeting, exchanging verbal blows, competing visions and reproofs. The scale of this battle and its intensity were unprecedented.
Then, on June 16, 1933, with the election campaign at its height, Chaim Alosarov, a leader of Mapai, is killed on a Tel Aviv beach. A revisionist is quickly, it later turns out falsely, accused of the murder. Ben-Gurion accuses the revisionists and Jabotinsky of supporting political assassination. Ben-Gurion's exploitation of the murder works. The vote for the Zionist Congress is held in July 1933, a month after the killing. Labour comes out the big winner with 44%, while the revisionists drop to 16%. In August, at the 18th Zionist Congress, Ben-Gurion is elected to a central position in the Zionist executive. Clashes between revisionists and Histadrut members continue in Palestine. With Hitler newly risen to power in Germany, Ben-Gurion realizes Jews cannot afford intra-communal strife. He attempts to patch relations with the revisionists. Ben-Gurion biographer Anita Shapira writes,
His new position changed his worldview. He was no longer the militant labor leader seeking to impose a working-class outlook on the Jews of Palestine, but a leader responsible for the destiny of the entire Jewish people.
In late 1934, Ben-Gurion holds 12 meetings with Jabotinsky in London. Surprisingly, the two establish an immediate rapport. Ben-Gurion writes to Jabotinsky,
I hope you won't take offense that I address you as a friend, without the ceremonial sir.
Jabotinsky replies, I shake your hand in absolute friendship. The two men forge a series of agreements. In his diary, Ben-Gurion writes,
It is too good to be true.
He is right. The Histadrut votes down their agreements by a large margin. Ironically, Ben-Gurion is undone by his own demonization of Jabotinsky and his movement. Shabtai Tevet writes,
Ben-Gurion's dream of creating an all-inclusive Zionist consensus evaporated. In 1935, Jabotinsky and his movement founded their new Zionist organization. Thus rose two distinct and opposed Zionist entities, the organized Yeshuv and the dissidents, the new Zionist organization. From then on, Zionism would speak and act with two voices, in two opposite directions.